that came down to the wall with a little stone in my hand.
So about 12 years ago, I stayed at my cousin's house one summer. We all decided to go out riding our bikes or scooters or whatnot. Avery wasn't as daring, you could say, as me and Colin were. We liked to take on the steepest and bumpiest of driveways. Avery was definitely the smartest out of the three of us. Colin had made it over the vast crack in their neighbor's driveway, and now it was my turn. Getting my foot stuck in the pedal and taking a large tumble down the driveway to meet Colin at the end caused a bloody gash in my knee, which led to a sizable scar right there. So I've always wished that I had curly hair. Always wished I had the luscious wavy beach hair, but no, I got the straight hair. So what do? I curl my hair. I've never been that coordinated exactly, so I've definitely burnt myself more than expected to. And if you get the skin pretty good enough, it causes a scar for a couple days. Well, guess what that scar usually was? My neck. Guess what it really looked like? Let's just say not a scar. So there's this thing that I have done since 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, so 6 years. I thought it would look good staying committed to something, especially to colleges, and I always wanted to stay in shape. But I hate running. I always have. But I have been in track for 6 years straight. It got a little better when I started long jumping. I liked my jumping coach a lot more. Not that I didn't like my sprinting coach. Anyway, it's known for people to spike somebody, whether they step on their feet or their ankles or their hands. But it's a real talent when you jump and you land on your own hand. Don't ask how that happens, I still don't know how I did it. But those spikes leave some pretty intricate scars. So from that incident, I got one right here, and right along here. Now this one just happened today. Actually, I'm very uncoordinated, so I was changing a tire and I was jumping on a lug wrench and I fell off. So that one's gonna stay on. I have a lot of scars from different things. Not all of them were accidents. I love kids. I always have. They bring joy to my life. They're pure and innocent, and I can't wait to have kids. I mean, I can and I will, don't worry, Mom. But I dream about the day that I'll be happily married with beautiful kids of my own to raise. They're innocent, and I hope that they'll never be corrupted by society or be corrupted by anyone. Babysitting is the only job that I've ever had, and honestly, it doesn't even feel like a job to me. I love to play pretend with the kids, or do arts and crafts with them, or read them bedtime stories, or just listen to them tell me about their day for hours. Sometimes I'll get the question, "What's that from?" I'll act clueless as if I don't know what they're talking about. What's what from? To stall, so that I can think of what to say next. I'll make up cool stories, like when I was younger, me and this girl lived by this fence, and at night we passed notes through it, and one day I slid my arm in a bit too far. Or when I lived in Florida, I used to go snorkeling all the time, and I'd swim by these large reefs, and one day my arm brushed against it, and that's where I got these scars from. I don't exactly have one dad. I've kind of got two, actually. I've got the dad that I met when I was 2. He was the dad that I grew up to know as my real dad. He was the one who helped me sell Girl Scout cookies. He was the soccer dad. He was the one who let me drink his Monsters and stay up watching The Simpsons with him while my mom didn't know. I was definitely a daddy's girl. My first time in the hospital, I wouldn't even talk to him. I was mean to him as if I was mad at him, but really I was just embarrassed. I thought I'd let him down. One day, I got home and a lot was different. It wasn't the same, and the worst part was that my cat was gone. I cried myself to sleep thinking that I wouldn't get him back, but don't worry, I did though, and he's the love of my life. I'm not sure if it has something to do with the fact that he was my dad's cat, and that's why I'm so attached to him, but either way, I don't know what I would do if I lost him again. I don't really know if it's because of me or his and my mom's relationship that made him leave, but for a long time, I thought it was all me. Me and my mom left everything, and we moved to Louisville. I wish I had said goodbye to him the last time I saw him, instead of sitting in the car watching my mom say goodbye. I wish I had done a lot of things differently. Then, there's the dad that I just recently met, actually. He's the biological father. So I was craving steak one night, my mom suggested Texas Roadhouse. We walk in, they're kind of busy. We wait a little bit, and then my mom goes, "Holy shit." And I just assumed she'd seen like a long-lost friend or something. That happens a lot ever since we moved back to Louisville. But no, she goes, "That's your father." And I'm like, "Let's go say hi." And I've got to admit, it was pretty funny when he asked me whether or not I knew who he was, but I won't forget that I wouldn't have met him if he hadn't went back and signed to get his free coupon. I don't exactly know how to act around him, to be honest. I can tell that he cares and he's making an effort. But there's something about growing up with your dad, well, thinking your real dad doesn't want to know you and then your real dad wanting to get to know you. I've always had low confidence, but my scars have made me look at myself a different way than just, me having low self-esteem. I've never exactly regretted my scars, never exactly wished them away, never gave them that much of my time to. When I first had my scars, I didn't think about other people. I didn't think about my mom telling me to put on a jacket before I got out of the car to meet one of her clients, and I couldn't take it off until I got back. I didn't think about my mom telling me she couldn't look at me because my arms were showing. I didn't think about going to the pool and her telling me I had to wear shorts so that nobody saw the scars on my hips. I didn't think about being seen with nothing else on. I'm almost 18, and I'm going to college. Yeah, I want to be sexy. For myself, for boyfriends, I want to be admired. I don't want to worry about disgusting someone when they see my hips or my thighs or rub against my arm. I've never said this out loud before, but I wish I could go back. I wish they weren't there. I wish people loved me. I wish people weren't ashamed of me. I wish I gave people good memories. My scars are never going away. They might lighten up, but they'll always be a part of me, be a part of my flesh. I'll always be the one whose dads both left. I'll always be the girl who was told to hide her scars. I'll always be the one who was hurt by the one she lived with. But none of that is going away, so why should I spend my time wishing part of myself too?
It's very difficult to see why you are the way you are. Doesn't take a genius to read.
LL Cool J is hard as hell. Battle anybody, I don't care. You do, I excel. They all gonna.
Good evening and welcome to the stage, Charles Kidney!
Thank you, you're too kind. I plan to keep this short and sweet, like my relationship with my father. Got a list of, where are you going, man? Got a list of jokes. Some of them might land, some of them may not. If they don't, oh well. On my way over here, although it is nice to be back in Louisville, on my way over here, I was having a conversation with my Uber driver. He asked me what I did for a living, and I just said stand up. And he goes, can you tell me a joke? I'm like, that's not really how it works. I don't tell people I do stand up for the same reason I used to not tell people I could sing. Because then they're like, sing me a song. And I'm like, I don't really know you like that. But I'm used to singing when I don't want to. Growing up, my mom would always volunteer me for things on accident. They'd be at church and they'd say, can anybody lead this song? And my mom would always go, oh yes, Charles knows that song. Knowing full well I did not know the words of the song that she was claiming that I knew. But church was nice overall. One Sunday we had a guest speaker that was familiar with how things went on. And I was an usher and I had just sat down and he goes, we want to thank you, Lord, for young Charles. You know, he sings, he ushers, and he don't want to do none of that, Lord, but he does, and we thank you for that, amen. I liked that church. You know, it was full of youth. That was one of the good things about it. But for some reason, just because I had a smidge more Bible knowledge than some of the kids and didn't play on my phone during the sermon, they assumed that I was this holy boy inside and out of church. So one Sunday I decided to go for prayer. Now back then kids didn't really do that, so I think it was a little bit of a shock. So I'm up there and I bow my head, and all of a sudden I notice I'm being surrounded by ministers and the First Lady. And I close my eyes, and all I'm focused on is the First Lady's voice, and she goes, "Thank you, Lord God. I want to thank you for bringing young Charles up here, Lord God. And I want to thank you, Lord God, because I know he's out there in the church and in the schools, Lord God, spreading your word, and the kids don't like that, Lord God. And he ain't got no friends, Lord God." How are you just going to assume that I don't have any friends? Like, I wasn't really mad about the situation, but if you're going to tell anybody I don't have friends, why tell God? Like, I'm pretty sure he already knows, hypothetically. But the church was a really fun place. The atmosphere was nice. Remember one summer, it was Vacation Bible School. I was cleaning up, and the First Lady looks at me and she goes, "Charles, you like white girls?" I was stumped. I just came here to pick up papers and peppermint wrappers, and I'm getting asked about girls, so I look at her and I go, "Yes? Oh, all right, baby. I was just wondering. No harm in that." But I tell her that doesn't mean that I wouldn't date a sister, too. It's just, I always thought it was kind of odd to limit yourself to one type of person. It's like, I hate when people say, "Charles, you aren't black. Like people constantly try to not be offensive while being offensive. For example, this one time I was eating over this family's house that may or may not have been Caucasian, and they had on some old rock music in the background. Note, my mom raised me on all kinds of music. She liked Journey, Billy Idol, Janet Jackson, LL Cool J. Myself, I listened to Daft Punk, Wham, Drake, Kanye before he lost his mind. A little bit of everything. But I'm eating, and all of a sudden, one of the parents decides to go, "Charles, I know you always in and out of Chicago, all that rap music and stuff, so you probably don't know about this." I paused, smiled, nodded my head, laughing it off. Now, something like that could have gone in a multitude of different ways. I could have said, "Well, what do you mean?" And gotten the typical, "Well, you know." It's like when people say, "Charles, how do you not know how to play basketball?" I have a feeling you'd be really good at it. Really? I'm a semi-overweight, asthmatic black man that's barely scraping 6 foot. It's like when I'm online sometimes, playing video games, and people will go, "Man, why the hell are black people so damn loud for?" And I'm like, "Really?" And they go, "Oh, no, not you, Charles. You're not like the rest of them." What the hell is that supposed to mean? But I hate, but also love when people go, "Charles, why do you sound so white?" It's like, are you saying because I sound intelligent and at times decide to use words with more than 2 syllables? Because that sounds stupid, because then you're literally saying that black people can't sound educated. My all-time favorite is when people walk up to me and go, "Wow, you are so articulate." You know, I have never once heard this. "Wow, Rebecca, you are so articulate." "Oh, thanks, Tammy, you too." That doesn't sound familiar, does it? You know what does sound familiar? "Wow, DeMarcus, you are very articulate. I'm impressed." I guess some of you have said that before. Growing up in America, if you are a black male, it is expected that you play sports like basketball and football at least once in your life. When I was younger and ate at such refined establishments such as Burger King, I would get catcalled by football coaches. "Hey boy, you's a big one. Hey, I bet you knock him down on that field, yeah." 11-year-old me is thinking, what the hell is this guy talking about? I mean, I played soccer, but don't tell somebody that you played soccer growing up unless you want them to go, "Well, why didn't you play football?" These people, the coaches, they usually came in pairs. It's usually like a skinny dude and a not so skinny dude. And the skinny dude was usually like more of the hype man. "So it looks like you're trying to get in shape, right? That's what you want to do? That's what it is?" I mean, I guess. "All right, then, well, how you going to do that?" I don't really know." He said he don't know. That's what he said. That's what he said. He said he don't know. "Well, how about you do this? How about you come play for me? All right. Okay, you get to go out on the field. You might get some girls. Okay. You get to have fun. You like fun, Mom, "So you like fun? You like girls?" And they were a really persistent bunch. They would talk to my mom and I for like 20 minutes on end. And one time I thought it'd be a good excuse to bring up the fact that my mom didn't have a car, and he goes, "Well, I could pick you up and drive you around. You get there a couple hours early, run around more than everybody else." But I never heard nobody did it now. Sir, I have asthma. And I don't think it would be a good idea if I was out in the field to play football. "Well, you got your inhaler, right?" "Yeah." "Well, here's what you're gonna do. You go out in the field, play a little bit, and when you run out of air, puff, puff, play, big nigga." I did eventually end up playing football. I only played for a few months because my friend's dad was the coach, and I had a musical coming up in the fall. Now, telling the team why I had to leave went a little bit better than I expected. "So you telling me that you quit football to play Horton the Elephant in a musical?" "That's about right, yeah." "All right then, man, do you?" And you know, I like that. We're all kind of trying to do our own thing or be successful, and I find these jokes almost funny, like they're jokes, so on one hand you aren't supposed to laugh. And on the other, it's kind of scary to think about the fact that these are things that people have said. I mean, you've probably said some of those things. Well, not you, but maybe you, I don't know. But people are always going to say that you should act this way or like this type of person or listen to this type of music all because of your race, your religion, your family. But the fact of the matter is, frankly, I'm just trying to be myself. And I'll be damned if I let somebody tell me what I should look like or how I should act. But what am I talking about? You didn't come here for this, you came here for jokes. So back to my church.
The average American nickel, 75% nickel, 25% copper, 0.0835 inches in diameter, roughly 1/90th as thick. Each nickel has two sides. For this reason, it is commonly used in coin flips, since it is a clear 50-50 shot of either outcome occurring. But that's not entirely true. There is a 1 in 6,000 probability that a coin will land on its side in a coin flip. Improbable as it may be, it proves that it is not always binary. I thought about this a lot, and I've come to the conclusion that people share huge similarities with coins, in that they both have two sides, a heads and a tails. I relate this idea a lot. I've always felt like I was living a double life, two sides each partially being a way to run away from the other. And the more I thought about it, it started to feel like both sides were almost like defense mechanisms with the switches that happen between them. And it only makes you wonder what would happen if a coin did land on its side, metaphorically speaking. And I've decided I want a conclusion to this question. But to know the whole story, you have to start at the beginning. Heads or tails?
Heads, tails!
Okay, jeez. Heads.
Told you.
So, I was born into a large family. I was the first child in 20 years. Over-repressed baby love overflowed when I was born. It took my whole family to raise me. My dad taught me moral law, things like empathy, bravery, curiosity. My mother, well, she was a principal. My principal, more in particular, up until my 5th grade year. She made sure that I was disciplined and cultured. She took me with her wherever she went, allowing me to see a variety of different environments and experience a variety of different types of people. But no matter where we went, she also made sure that there was always a safety net below me, even when I was away from the nest. There was never a time where I couldn't get help or a situation I couldn't escape if needed to. Tails, same time, despite all that was around me, I still felt very alone. I don't really know why, but there was always a void in my chest, and I feel like at a young age that's one of the worst things you ever can wish upon someone. I loved my family, let me get that straight, because they loved me. Now, why they loved me, I could never really come to an answer. But when I asked them, they give me something like, well, Grant, because you're my son, but that didn't really make sense to me. Heads. It started to, though, once my younger sister was born. I mean, irritated at first. Something changed. And I think especially once things started getting harder in the household, I was put in a position finally where I was asked to put forth all the things that I was taught growing up to practice. Tails, around the same time I started middle school. It was the first one that was outside of my mother's jurisdiction, and that didn't really scare me, but the loneliness grew stronger. But after what was brewing in my home life, anywhere where I was away from my house and could hear myself think, I was happy. Ironically, of course, as soon as I started getting used to the isolation, kids at my school and places started coming around me. In no time at all, bonds were made. I gained their trust and respect, and I learned their stories, lives that were surrounded by abuse, gangs, a variety of other hardships I couldn't relate to. But still, we were all united in that we were broken. They became like a second family to me. One that I knew for a fact that I'd earned. And that's all I think I ever really wanted. Anywhere away from home is where I felt most alive. It was full of both some of my favorite memories and others I'm honestly not as proud of. Heads. Now, I'd seen how hard the world could be, and it hardened and enlightened me. It pushed me to be all I could back at home to make sure that my younger sister and now younger cousins never had to learn about the world the same way I did. While at home, I maintained being mild-mannered and kind and kept a smile on my face to both not worry my elders and also prevent myself from being anything other than a positive influence on those younger than me. Tails. All this had been going on, but one day an epiphany hit me, like a train. It was like all the pain I'd caused other people, physically, mentally, emotionally, had all been compressed into a little ball, and I felt it sink down my throat into the pit of my stomach. And I was scared. Scared of what I had done. Scared of what I now knew that I could do. Scared that I was becoming the one thing I was trying to protect everyone else from. And I broke. I don't know, I started to feel like I didn't belong on either side of the coin. And after what was brewing in my home life, I wanted to just dip, but I couldn't leave. I had obligation, I had family on both sides. But as I started diving deeper into feeling and what it meant to feel, I found love in some of the most unlikely places. And for the next 3 years, it seemed like she gave me purpose. I trusted her. She told me that good people sometimes do bad things. We just have to live from our mistakes. And I lived by it. Cutting an epilogue short, after that I went to high school and I started a new chapter, except for this time I wasn't as alone. I had friends. At the same time, I had friends, but I still found myself in some of the same situations as before. I was just now able to repress old instincts. I was trying desperately to find out a way to take my old vices and put them to good. I kept switching for a while, but I came to the conclusion that both sides were and are equally me. And I realized that if I don't accept and embrace both of them, then others won't either. I was always scared that if one person saw one side of me that they weren't used to, it would totally change how they looked at me. And maybe it would. But I realize if I don't accept it, then neither will they. Now, connecting this to the world, bigger picture, I'm not trying to say that not understanding people is the cause of all of our social issues in the world, or maybe I am, but if we don't, then we'll never make progress. Not only with other people, but yourself too. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But I can promise you that if you never open up and look inside, then you're never going to reach that point of 0.00635%.
Up, down, got its holsters. Bowery got its bumps. 42nd Street got a big gym. I walk out here, bull shooting son of a gun.
I used to listen to this song with my dad when I was little. I called it the Bad Guy song. This song and Bad Bad Leroy Brown, both of them by the same artist, Jim Croce. When I hear this song, it brings me back to sitting in my dad's car when he would pick me up from after-school daycare on Tuesdays and eating his peppermint gum he kept in the glove box. My parents are divorced. They divorced when I was around 2. They are very, very different people, but I think the one thing they have in common is their love for me. My dad would do anything for me, and I don't think I could ever really do anything wrong in his eyes. And my mom tries to be better to me than her mom was to her. Sometimes I wished my parents weren't divorced, but I think it's better that they are. It just hurts a lot sometimes, but I think that's normal for all kids with divorced parents. My dad lives in Chandler, Indiana, which is 10 minutes outside of Evansville, Indiana. That's where I used to live with my mom, too. We moved to Louisville when I was around 9 with my stepdad, Brandon. At first, I was really upset leaving my dad behind, but I think in the long run, it's definitely better. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be an actor. I used to listen to this song with my mom. She had one of those Jeeps like in Jurassic Park, but hers was tan instead of red. We would listen to this and All Star by Smash Mouth because we had the entire Shrek soundtrack on CD. Me and my mom actually got tattoos together in December. It's a Celtic knot that represents the bond between a mother and daughter. She was a big baby about it and told me it hurt worse than giving birth. Listen, lady, I saw you give birth to your last child. I know it didn't hurt that bad. I get bad migraines from my mom. So whenever one of us has one, we will sit in bed in the dark for hours just sleeping or reading or talking. I feel like I could tell her anything during those moments, but inevitably one of my little siblings will run downstairs to see her. My siblings, Lucas and Max, are my entire world. I read Lucas to bed every single night, and right now we're reading Percy Jackson, and I tug him into bed. Max keeps trying to teach me how to play Minecraft, but I for the life of me cannot figure it out. I don't understand it. Before I got my license, my stepdad would drive me halfway to my dad's house. It's about an hour drive, and he had burned this CD of songs to listen to with me, and this was by far my favorite song on the CD. We would talk about anything and everything on those trips. It's when we would bond. My stepdad treats me like I'm actually his daughter, which I like a lot, even though he only met me when I was 8. My stepmom doesn't have a song. She has a movie. It's Penelope, that movie with the girl with the pig snout and has to try and find true love or something. We would watch it because my dad absolutely despised it. And I guess I kind of actually liked it.
Cold pizza, tie-dye shirts, broken hearts, give from here, give from here.
Every single day last summer, me and my best friend Abby would listen to this song in the car on repeat all the way up. It's my summer song now. It immediately makes me happy and think of her. I've been through a lot of best friends throughout high school, and I think I went through all of them to find Abby. She's my best friend's soulmate. We will get Starbucks and pick up Chinese food and watch movies together. I love all of my friends. And whenever one of them gets in my car, we will listen to songs on blast. Every single one of them has a different song. With Christina, it's this one. It's by Ozzy Osbourne. We listened to it every single day sophomore year while we would take bad pictures and laugh at the funny faces during our lunch eating period. There was actually a 2-month period where we would quote Django Unchained for multiple times every single day. It was ridiculous.
The demon queen of high school has decreed it.
This one's Cats. It's from Heathers, the musical. On her way home from school every day, she listens to this and sings Snapchat videos. Cat really likes to clean, and my entire life is kind of a mess. She's always cleaning my room, my car, my backpacks. We got really close this year, and I hope we continue to get close throughout summer. This one makes me think of my older brother Andrew. That and my dad, but mostly Andrew. We quote the SNL skit with Christopher Walken all the time. Andrew's hurt me a lot in the past. He doesn't mean to, he's just kind of stupid. He's a really annoying, loud, and more obnoxious version of me. I decided to take a gap year next year, and I am spending it with him in Mammoth Mountain, California, working at a ski resort. Hopefully I don't kill him. All of these people I've talked about today have impacted me a lot. In good ways and bad, but mostly good. There's this movie I saw starring Peter Dinklage that I like a lot. It's called Rememory, and he has this quote that I find really important. We never know the true value of a moment until it becomes a memory. I think about that a lot. I feel like people don't enjoy the time they spend with others. I want to enjoy every single moment I have on this earth, whether it's good or bad. And I think all of these people make music in me worth listening to. So that memory of me sitting in my car, listening to these songs, screaming at the top of my lungs, that's my happy place. And I'll always remember that.
to get high on. When I said I don't go get it.
Choosing the topic for my solo Mio was hard. Miss Blackaby told us to write about something that we're passionate about. So I sat down at my computer, ready to let all this artist's genius flow through me and burst out onto the page. And I found myself staring at a blank Google Doc, wondering if I was passionate about anything at all. So I did what any reasonable, passionless person would do, and I crawled onto my bed and stared at the wall. And from the wall, dozens and dozens of pairs of eyes stared back at me. Because I fill my bedroom walls with pictures of my favorite people. These are my prized possessions. The one thing I would save in a house fire. All these photos trace my life for the past 18 years. There's ones of 6-year-old me dressed as Pocahontas, and my team in a group hug at my last race, and my little cousins running around at Easter. I don't have a fancy camera or fabulous photography skills or anything like that. I do love looking at photography in an artistic sense, but the main reason I love photographs is because they capture so much feeling into a single still image. There's this picture next to my bed. It's me at age 7. I'm wearing a pink floral bikini, a cowgirl hat, a sprinkling of freckles, and a wide grin as I stare out on the ocean. Every time I look at this picture, I can smell the scent of the ocean breeze and feel the sun browning my skin like I'm a Pop-Tart in the toaster. There's one on my desk in which my little sisters and I are dressed in these pretty pink and navy blue dresses. We would look like the cover of a Pottery Barn magazine if it weren't for the fact that the girls are really fed up with their itchy outfits, so they're screaming at the top of their lungs, and I am cracking up and pretending to be screaming right along with them. Oh, they're just as photogenic at age 11. I love these two photos so much because I can hear the memory. The two girls' voices tumbling over one another as they both try to compete for my attention. That's every day of my life. See, I think candid photos are the best. Ones that mom takes when no one is expecting it. Sure, in our professional family photos, our hair is fixed nicely and we're posed in perfect positions, but in those we're trying to appear like a perfect family, and it's not genuine. My favorite family photo was taken at the twins' 11th birthday party right before a water balloon fight. Everyone is goofing around and wearing these super concentrated faces like this water balloon battle is all important. All this joy and laughter describes my family more than any perfectly posed picture could. You see, in posed photos, you're capturing a moment that's artificial. Life has stopped for a few seconds. The children are told to freeze, smile big, stop poking your sister, please, and for goodness sake, look at the camera. Then, after the photo is taken, all of the emotions and conversation and movement resumes. That's the perfect time to take a picture. Right in the middle of a living, breathing, messy moment. In candid photos, we are vulnerable. We aren't wearing that mask that we put on to take a picture, the one that says, oh, picture time, I need to look pleasant and pretty right now. When you look at a photo of an unaware model, there's a world of thoughts running through their head. That's why naturalistic photos are the most intriguing to me. We focus so much on the photographic milestone moments, like school pictures at the beginning of each year, classic photos in front of the birthday cake, like graduation photos, prom photos, wedding photos, pictures on the Anchorage Trail for the Christmas card. But all these don't reveal our everyday lives, who we really are. That's why I love to take photos at random times. I'll pull out my phone to take a picture just when I'm running around with my siblings in the yard, or when I catch my parents holding hands when they don't know I'm looking, or when my boyfriend's in the middle of telling me a story, or when I'm just on the couch hanging out with my friends watching a movie. These candid photos capture all the disorganized, ordinary moments that come together to make the story of my life. And it is in its own crazy way, picture perfect.
Think about